Milky, Milky, let's talk about Nigel Farage's Masonic ritual, where he had milk thrown over him by a glamour model, who then turns up with a picture and it says 33 on it, dressed as a devil. This was a Masonic ritual connected to Isis and rebirth. It is also connected to the Hellfire Club. As you see, the girl was dressed as a devil. Here is Farage doing a Masonic handshake. Farage's family is connected to the Red Shields and the Goldsmiths, as his family came from Frankfurt. The banking house of the Red Shields was from Frankfurt. They intermarried with the Goldsmiths. Farage's family come from there. He has secret beep heritage. And he worked in the City of London. So did his father, in metals. And the family that sets the price of gold is the Red Shields. And it was James Goldsmith, the secret father of Diana, who first created a party called Reform. And then it was the Independence Party, and then he left money behind and it became UKIP, and you have Nigel Farage. How convenient, with his family history. Now this man's son, at the age of 21, is a City of London trader. This shows you that, as I've said many times, British society is based on nepotism. It is based on family links. All these people seem to be related. And here he is doing the Masonic handshake. And the milk, which can also be seen as semen, was an ISIS ritual where his political career was reborn. And this was symbolic of it, with the milk being thrown over him. And it's all connected to the Hellfire Club because in the UK, part of Freemasonry is involved with satanic rituals. And this is proved by the Hellfire Club, which is connected to Freemasonry. They believe in duality. And so part of duality is doing these witchcraft rituals. And it's all connected to the cult of Isis, which is connected to witchcraft. And a Master Mason can handle the dark side and the good side. And the synthesis is enlightenment, is Lucifer. So we have here Farage doing a Masonic handshake. My community posts, where I show that the Daily Mail showed the picture of her with the devil's costume. This is Hellfire Club, Freemasonry, with the 33 of Freemasonry. When they use the 33, this is a message to fellow Masons saying, this is us. Okay, this is a ritual. And Farage seems to be involved in lots of rituals, lots of milk rituals. He had a crash where he had one sock down, one sock up. And he then appeared back on YouTube with the cup, with a milkshake cup with a big M of McDonald's, showing you the double arch of Freemasonry, which comes out of Isis. So this was all staged. And then we had sudden reports of, Farage is suddenly popular and Reform is popular. He's a stooge, City of London frontman. Brexit was a scam. And it is the City of London protecting its interests. It does not pay tax and it does not abide by any laws. The City of London. And that's how they control the world. That's how Freemasonry controls the world and these banking families, because all these leaders, political leaders around the world, have secret bank accounts via the City of London. And your Russian companies, your Ukrainian companies, your North Korean companies, all their money is through the City of London, and it's all hidden, and that's how they control it all. So we have the 33. Now, this shill tried to say that the story was actually real. Now, they have got a bit more sophisticated in that they planned this Nigel Farage event weeks in advance, and they put a full story out because they know that people on Twitter can debunk these stories very quickly. And they put this full story, and then we had this shill say that people who believe that this full story was true are idiots, okay? But it was actually a staged event, as I've shown. And this logo is of a pug with a one eye. This is a Masonic symbol. And I will prove this to you, okay? That in the 18th century, a pug dog was the symbol of Freemasonry. And the painter, Hogarth, who was a Freemason and a member of the Hellfire Club, had a pug dog called Trump. Now let's look into this. And you would kiss, in the 18th century, you would kiss the bottom of the pug. Remember, you kiss the bottom of Satan. And in a ritual, okay?
When Hogarth joined the Freemasons, it was because he had a sense that it would do him good. At the same time, he was perfectly happy to send up the alleged mysticism of the group he joined, as he does in that print of the Gorgons. Despite Hogarth's ambition, it's amusing to see he still can't help giving in to his natural instinct for barefaced cheek. Hogarth had an eye for the absurd and a nose for business.
So in that programme, I've shown it in another clip, he describes how you kiss the bottom of the pug. You kiss the bottom of Satan. Now, in a play by William Shakespeare called Midsummer Night's Dream, you have a character who's a donkey and he's called Bottom. It is based on a play, this is based on a book by a Roman author called Apelles, and his book is called The Golden Ass, or The Metamorphosis. And it is about a man who tries to perform witchcraft rituals, but he's not initiated into the craft, so he's turned into a donkey. So he learns the hard way. And so then he's turned with good magic out of the donkey, and then he's baptized, he's cleansed, and then he has found enlightenment through the cult of Isis. And this is, again, symbolic of what Freemasons believe. They believe in this black and white. They believe in the duality. Mastering the duality creates synthesis. This is why they control both sides. And this is reflected in a poem called If by Rudyard Kipling. If you read that poem, it's all about duality and synthesis. And he also wrote the Jungle Book, which shows how man has this divine knowledge of Lucifer, which separates him from the rest of the animals. And Hogarth was a member of the Hellfire Club. And the leader was Sir Francis Dashwood. And they would have this kind of mock humour, which you have with the Farage, with the girl, with the devil's costume. But they would also perform satanic rituals. For real. In their Dionysian rituals. And then his son created the Phoenix Club. Now this still goes on, as you can see with the Farage story. And Hogarth painted this series of paintings called Marriage à la Mode. And Kubrick based Eyes Wide Shut on this series of paintings. It shows you the Hellfire Club, it shows you a woman cheating at the Hellfire Club. Now think of Eyes Wide Shut, think of those women in the ritual, think of the girl with the Farage photo with the devil's costume. Now in the film Eyes Wide Shut, the ending is that actually Nicole Kidman was at the party. But it is the prostitute that gives up her life to save Tom Cruise. Nicole Kidman was at the party, but she would not give up her life for Tom Cruise. And that is why the mask is on the bed at the end, okay? It's based on this painting, series of paintings called Marriage à la Mode by Hogarth, who was a member of the Hellfire Club. And that's how we understand the Nigel Farage incident. This is a Masonic ritual where he is reborn into another role in his political career, which is an act. Now let's talk about Kate Middleton, because Kate Middleton's mother was involved in a car crash in March. And she has not been heard of since. Remember, she is one of the few people that know what happened to Kate Middleton. Kate Middleton's boyfriend seems to have been bumped off. Now, the British media are trying to convince us that a woman who's been dead for months is still alive. You will not see Kate Middleton again, as I've shown. And the Kate Middleton story is similar to the Nigel Farage story, is that they put obvious fake Kate pictures out first before they released the deepfake one, to try and convince people that the deepfake one was the real one. Because you had even normies doubting themselves. And this seems to be their latest strategy. But we have the British media trying to convince us that a woman who's been dead for months is still alive. And this reminds me of the story of Juana la Loca, which is Joan the Mad, who believed her husband was still alive even when he was in his coffin dead. And she would follow the body around, as we see in this painting. So the British media are trying to convince us that a woman who is dead is actually still alive. Now, will they release the knowledge of Kate's death on the time of a bigger event? A good time to bury bad news. Could a major event, like a La Palma scale event, be the time when they release this news? Because that would bury the news. Now, it's interesting also that you have the guy with the moustache in I Pet Goat 2, and you have Bin Laden, and both of their deaths were announced on May Day. So both those chief characters in this made-up narrative of World War I and World War II and now World War III, their deaths were announced on the same day. This is all Masonic ritual, and Bin Laden was buried at sea. And you will notice that on D-Day they kept referring to sacrifice. These are sacrifices for the Masonic great work, which is Lucifer, which is already on the flag of that country in the Middle East. Now we have Michael Mosley, the TV doctor who pushed the William Shakespeare, has been found dead in a cave in Greece. This is what we are meant to believe. Has he been bumped off? Is there also a Masonic message to this one? Because in the past they would perform these rituals in caves, and the cave where he was near a place called the Abyss. So there seems to be some kind of Masonic messaging. And this is just continues the line of strange deaths associated with the BBC. If you want to end up in a strange death, join the BBC, because it is a Luciferian satanic corporation. So, thank you, those are my thoughts.